Greetings everyone, and welcome to my updated timeline. If you are new to my channel, what you are looking at are signs in the heavens, of which most were found because of verses out of the Bible. In the very first chapter of the very first book of the Bible, God says the sun, the moon, and the stars are to be used for signs. And then in Luke 21:25, Jesus says of the end times that there shall be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. What you're looking at are some of these signs. 4 of these signs are directly mentioned as being signs in the heavens in the Bible. Revelation 12:1 and 2, I show you a great sign in heaven. Revelation 12:3-6, I show you another sign in heaven. Revelation 15:1, I show you a sign in heaven great and marvelous. And Matthew 24:30, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. These signs are in 4 different groups. The first group is when Jesus was on earth. The second group are warnings that we've already come across. The third group are the 7 years from Daniel 9:24's 70th week. We do not know when this week starts or when this week ends. I'm guessing that the week starts with the rapture and the week ends with Jesus returning to earth. The last group are these 3 signs out at the end of the 1,000 years. Some of these signs are very small, from conjunctions to eclipses. However, some of them are quite elaborate in how far the detail goes in those signs. For instance, let's look at Revelation 12:1 and 2's great sign in the heavens. I did not find this sign, but it was the first one that I heard about, and I suggest that this would be the first one that you wrap your mind around. In Revelation 12:1 and 2, it says, I show you a great sign in the heavens, a woman clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, a crown of 12 stars, travailing in birth. Here's the woman, that is Virgo. She is clothed with the sun. The moon is under her feet. She has a crown of 12 stars. 9 of those stars are in Leo, and 3 of the wandering stars come by to make up the crown. Planet is ancient Greek for wandering star. If you draw through this, it actually looks kind of like a crown. And then we have travailing in birth. The woman is travailing with the king Jupiter. Now some of you might be asking, what are these signs for? And there are a few different things they are used for. Most of these signs are marking an event that happens on the earth on that day. The blood red moons are marking a time frame of something happening. Some of the signs are to help us identify other parts of the signs. For instance, the dragon's 7 blasphemous heads, the dragon's 10 horns, and how the dragon's tail draws down a third of the part of stars of heaven and casts them to the earth are to help us to identify who the fiery dragon is. And then we also have some signs that are just warnings, such as these 3 here. In 2008, 2009, and 2010, on the 1st of Av, which is a Hebrew month, we had a total solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse, and a total solar eclipse. And then we had 2011. 2011 started out with the animal deaths in January, the Arab Spring in February, the earthquake and tsunami in Japan in March, and then in America we had the worst tornadoes in America's history. We had the worst drought in America's history at the same time that we were having the worst flooding in America's history. We also had the worst fires in America's history. If you remember, they went from all the way from Florida across every state of the South to California. On June 1st and July 1st, we had solar eclipses, and then right in between those two, we had a blood red moon, which was pinpointing the middle of 2011. We also had the red-winged blackbirds dying in Beebe, Arkansas on January 1st in 2011 and January 1st in 2012. In 2011, the birds died about 30 minutes after January 1st happened at the international dateline. In 2012, the birds died about 30 minutes after it became January 1st on the east coast of the United States of America. There were many other things that happened during 2011, but I want to just mention one more, and that is there were many Christians all across the face of the earth that were woken up in this year. I am one of them, and I have heard many others say that that is the year that they were woken up as to the times we are living in. The next thing I want to talk about are the signs that are yet future and the dates that they happen on, and my theory as to what those signs are marking. The first sign we're going to talk about are the blood red moons. I believe this sign is marking the construction of the temple. The next sign after that is the day the outer court is given to the Gentiles. And less than a month later, we have the two witnesses showing up. We then have the great sign out of Revelation 12:1 and 2. I believe this is when Israel has her eyes opened. We then see Satan cast down to the earth, and then the abomination of desolation that is found in many parts of the Bible. This is where the Jews flee for their lives. And then she is caught up on the wings of the great eagle. We then see the Antichrist slain and risen. The earth opens up her mouth, and Satan sits in the throne of God. After this, we have Revelation 15:1's great and marvelous sign, the seven angels with the seven bowls. We have the sores that break out on those who have the mark of the beast. We have the ocean turned into blood. We have the rivers turned into blood. We have the sun scorching people on earth. We then have the Antichrist kingdom thrown into darkness. We then have to jump down here where the whore of Babylon is fallen. Then the Euphrates River is dried up, and the seventh bowl is poured out into the air, which causes the great earthquake, which shortens the days. Then we have the two witnesses killed, of which they're raised 3.5 days later. But right after they're killed, we have the end of the tribulation and the start of the Battle of Armageddon. We then see the beast and the false prophet are taken, they are cast alive into hell, and Satan is chained. Then we have the sign of the Son of Man, which is the start of the 1,000 years. And at the end of the 1,000 years, we see Satan released from the pit. And he is released for a little season, and then we see him thrown into hell and the white throne judgment. Now that's as far as I am going to go in this video in explaining these signs. I have just finished a 12-part series called Is God Real? That is right below this video. In those videos, I explain in detail everything you are looking at on this timeline. I started this series over 6 months ago, and at that time, this timeline looked completely different. I have found a number of signs since I started that series. I have had to correct a few mistakes, and we had a complete makeover of the timeline that you will see through those videos. Since this is the most updated version of this timeline at this point in time, let's go over some of the things that you need to know. Everything in the gold print is scripture or scripture related. Everything in the red print is dates or information, and a bunch of this is scripture related. Everything in the white print has to do with the sign up in the heavens. The blue print is a feast day, and the pink print is from Matthew 24:22's shortened days. The border colors and the day count colors help put them into groups. Everything in the light blue has to do with the Jews. Everything in the red has to do with Satan or the Antichrist. The yellow has to do with the outer courts given to the Gentiles, and the green has to do with the witnesses. The 6 crosses that I have found are in a gold border. The 3 doves that I have found are in the ivory. The 5 thrones that I found are in white. And the dark blue has to do with the sign of signs. As always, you have my permission to download my videos and share them with others. If you would like to take a screenshot of this timeline and print it out for yourself or your friends, you have my permission to do so. You can also find this timeline on my Facebook, Pinterest, or Twitter site.